Hello, a very good afternoon to you and welcome to Pan-African News on Pan-African Television with me, Anane and Nartey. We're streaming live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. Now let's take a look at our top stories making headlines. I believe the Presbyterian Church holds peace walk ahead of 2020 polls. A sub-sensitized journalist on security ahead of 2020 polls. Now, Democratic People's Party lends support to the NDC. On our business front, Ghana's soya market gets boost with 1 million injection. This and many other stories, including Sport International from our international partners, People's Dispatch, and entertainment coming up shortly in the next 1 hour. Stick and stay. The news in detail. The Abelemkpe branch of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana has held a well-organized peace walk. The walk, attended by representatives from both the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party, was to promote peace before, during, and after election in Abelemkpe and its environment. My colleague George Diosin Venet was at the peace walk and he gathered the story.
Beautifully mounted over here is a peace walk of Ayawaso West Wogon constituency, organized by the Presby Church within the Abelemkpe constituency. Currently here is the Abelemkpe number 2 basic school, where the 2 candidates or parliamentary candidate of the 2 major political parties, NPP and then NDC, the person of John Dumelo and then Hassan Lydia, who is currently behind here to actually motivate the people just to preach exactly a peace message. So basically, I just have to have 2 or 3 words of them to know what exactly they make up of this particular war. Let me start with the man himself, John Dumelo. Thank you very much for honoring this occasion. Let me start with you before I go to Honorable Lydia. What do you make up of this particular peace walk?
Well, I think the work has been successful. It's great. One of the ways we can preach peace is to start from the communities, most especially the churches. And so if the church has organized something like this, it's good, it's perfect. You know, the churches have to start preaching peace, and they've already started preaching peace. And at the end of the day, as a matter of fact, at the end of the day, what we need is peace during this election because of what has happened in the past. And so this has been a wonderful event.
Basically, with this peace walk, from your camp of MPP, what do you make out of it?
This goes to show the world, the constituency, the country, that we are very peaceful constituency. To do this together means that we are committed. I am committed to peace, and I want to encourage us all to be agents of peace. Let's preach it out there to our people, that we are one people. We are Ghanaians first and foremost. We shouldn't allow politics to divide us. We should do this knowing that it is just politics, and we are just one people, one family. Ghana, we are one family. We don't, and as for me and my party, we don't discriminate. We do everything across board. And my followers, the constituents, as a mother of the constituency, I am saying to all of us that this election is a peaceful one. We should all commit to it. Before, during, and after the election, we should all be agents of peace. I am grateful for this platform. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
This is the message of both the sitting MP and the parliamentary candidates of the area. John Dumelo starting what he is going to do when they come to power. Joe is not a member of parliament, but he has been touting what he has been able to do in the constituency. The sitting MP has also touted what he has done in the constituency. So basically, this is what is going to happen. And you can see that basically they are all cheerful and counting that peace should be what they should be gearing towards as we journey towards December 7th in the election.
In an interview, the minister in charge, Reverend Victoria Kai Wayo, commended parliamentary candidates of both parties for gracing the event and reiterated the need for peace as the nation heads to the polls on December 7, 2020.
Yes, our reason for organizing this peace walk is because we are ambassadors of peace. This is what Jesus left us. He says, peace, I live with you, my peace, not as the world gives. And a dictionary meaning of peace is freedom to live and work happily with everyone. And that is what we want to pursue, because we know that West Ayawaso Wogon constituency has been tagged as a hot spot, and we want that to be of history. We want that to be something that is gone. We want a new name to be written for West Ayawaso Wogon constituency. Hence, we have organized this peace walk, and you could see that we have been able to bring the two major parties together, the MPP, the NDC, and it's all about Ghana.
They marched through Abelenkpe, Jowulu, and its surroundings.
Now, the Institute of Security, Safety and Policy Research, in collaboration with Africa Security Practitioner League, has organized a training workshop at East Legon in MJ Grand Hotel for journalists on election security. The event was to school media practitioners on how to perform their duty professionally before, during, and after election. Elizabeth Amafo filed this report.
Speaking in an interview, a security analyst Adam Bona reiterated the need on how crime and violence should be reported during the December 7th, 2020 election.
Media are here. You are going to be watching. The military is not supposed to be anywhere closer to polling centers. They are not supposed to be until they are called upon that there is confusion. And so please, and I think there was that issue of the use of mobile phones. Remember the infamous Ayawaso West Wogon confrontation. We would never have gotten real images if it hadn't been yourself, the media, and the general public. Everybody recorded something, and when we pieced it together, we saw the carnage, what happened. And so I'm not saying without anything at all, flash your phone. But once you can see people argue, if you can start filming, it will be very good for us to do that. Once we do it, I think that they're easy together with what you call the hoodlums who might want to create confusion. And we will stay away. And I'll use this also platform to beg the IGP. Please let's not deploy inexperienced police officers to lead the task force.
The executive director of Jatike Center for Peace Building, Adib Sani, stated that the various political parties have failed in terms of curbing political vigilantism. He further suggested some measure the Ghana Police Service can adopt to clamp down on violence before, during, and after the election.
It is sad to note that most of the political parties have failed us on this occasion because they have all failed despite several engagements with different stakeholders to disband these vigilante groups, which I must say categorically still exist. We can also talk about the small arms and live weapons. According to the Small Arms Commission, out of the about 1.2 million guns we have in the system last year, only 40,000 of them were renewed, their licenses. Now we're dealing with the highly sophisticated network of individuals who are able to bring in weapons from other parts of the continent due to the porous nature of our borders. Now we're also dealing with the issue of local gun manufacturing industry in the country. This is definitely worth looking into. I would wish to appeal to the police to prevent politicians, especially elected aspirants, from moving from one polling station to another. They have no business. All they do is to come, cast their ballots, and go home. Secondly, the issue of voter rights. According wish to appeal that there is an outright ban on the use of motorbikes and certain areas, especially the hotspots.
The Bureau of Public Safety Executive Director Nanaya Akwada stressed that body cameras should be allocated to uniformed police personnel assigned to cover this year's election. He urged the Ghana Police Service to sensitize the public on accessing their hotlines in case of violent eruptions in flashpoints scattered across the country.
Also to add our voice to the fact that, like you rightly indicated, way back in July 2019, the police took delivery of 250 body cams, which have not been put into use effectively. But then we want to indicate that there will be a better time for the body cams to be put into use than these elections. And for that matter, we will urge the Ghana Police Service to release these body cams to their personnel, especially personnel that will be deployed to the flag point or identifiable trouble spots. I must add that the Bureau of Public Safety would like to suggest to the Ghana Police Service that if it can, they should come out with a hotline, a toll-free hotline for this particular election, so that citizens can call in to report any election-related incident. More so because just in the past, we witnessed at the hours for by-elections. We have people parading themselves in masquerades and inside police and security uniforms, installing violence during the by-elections. We want to add that when such a hotline is made available, the citizens can have access to it and will call in to report any incidents as they happen.
Now, the Democratic People's Party has declared its position to support the National Democratic Congress in the upcoming general election. Addressing the media at its National Congress, national organizer of the party, David Oklika, said their ideologies fell in line with the NDC, hence their decision to support the latter to win the election.
An exit on 7th December, which is just a few weeks away, the DPP on this day declares support for candidate John Dramani Mahama and the National Democratic Congress for the 2020 elections. We announce withdrawal. I thought you would do better. We announce our withdrawal from the race and will put every resource, both human and financial, at helping the re-election of candidate John Dramani Mahama as President of the Republic of Ghana come 7th December. We call on all well-meaning Ghanaians to join hands with the DPP to ensure we help a credible and truthful man, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, back to the seat of president, because he has been there before and has proven commitment towards development and developing a Ghana that provides opportunities for all. Thank you.
A leading member of the Convention People's Party, Mr. Justice Heneku, has debunked news of the party's former flag bearer predicted victory for President Akufo-Addo in December 7th elections.
We are privileged to have in the studios with us one of the leading members of the CPP here. Sir, what is happening? Who has endorsed who?
Well, I suppose the newspaper, indeed a broadsheet, not a yellow sheet, if I may say, a yellow newspaper, is peddling its own agenda. And it's unfortunate that most of the media in this country with all respects to you and those in the media I know, are mere hired agents of various or varying interests, and so peddle falsehood using language to do it. We know that most of the times the headlines are read on the television and on the radio,
absolutely,
without going into
the content.
It.
Absolutely.
So you just put something in there, and then it takes a life of its own. They are really talking about Abu Sakara. Abu Sakara indeed was the flag bearer of the Convention People's Party
once upon a time, 2
elections ago. And after that election, which he lost, he resigned from the Convention People's Party. Indeed, he has created his own movement called NIM, which was trying to see whether he could be pushed to stand for presidential, as a presidential candidate, but it didn't fly. So how do you put on your front page the informer? Is this any different from the Daily Express of England, who peddle falsehoods and show naked, breasted women on their page 3? To put in this kind of misleading, politically directed barb at the Convention People's Party. Are we now going to use valuable media time instead of talking about our manifesto and the good things in our manifesto, which is meant to rescue this country, rebuild this country, and restore trust in government? To talk about this? Is it fair? Is it the democracy we are talking about? Is it the plurality of the fourth estate, the multipartyism that we are talking about?
What you guys fought for?
Yes. And people fought for the multipartyism.
In the face of death.
People fought for newspapers to be able to freely express themselves, but not to be gutter newspapers like this informer is and doing.
You're still watching Pan-African News on Pan-African Television with me, Anane, Nartey. We're streaming live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. We'll be back shortly with more news. Stay tuned.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Do you desire to develop a career in media and journalism, beauty and cosmetology, fashion and designing? Then the best institution to help you achieve your desired goals is GH Schools. In our media school, we offer 1-year certificate and 2 years diploma courses in television and film production, journalism and media studies, journalism and media art. In our cosmetology school, we offer 2 years full cosmetology course, 1.5 years beauty therapy course, 1 year beauty specialist course. In the fashion school, our programs include 1 year certificate course in fashion design, 2 years diploma course in fashion design and technology. At GH Schools, industrial attachment is assured. We offer 70% practical training and 30% theory. Our fees are affordable and paid in installments. Register online at www.admissions.ghschools.online. GH Schools. Train, practice, achieve.
policy think tank Strategic Thinkers Network Africa has urged the Data Protection Commission to call the Electoral Commission over gross private violation pertaining to the expungement of 32,621 names expunged from the new register of voters because of alleged violation of the electoral law. Now we've been joined on phone, which is the Deputy Director of Research, Ayuram Noglo of Strategic Africa. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon and welcome to Pan African News.
Good afternoon and thank you for having me. And good afternoon to your US and yourself too as well.
Thank you very much. So let's move straight to the point. According to your press release, are you trying to say that the Electoral Commission, so far as the data protection is concerned or involved, are you trying to say they lack some strategies pertaining to this release?
So the genesis of all this is what happened a few days ago, where we found out that the voters ID or the details, data of our voters register has been placed on a Google Drive on the internet. Now what we are saying is this. Now anybody who wants to check the name, okay, if you want to check your name, you can go do that. And I'm understanding that yes, it is in line with the Electoral Commission's CR 127. But you see, the data out there can be used for so many things, considering the kind of people we have in our country, where you're aware that where you are upstairs and other rogue elements are take advantage of this data and use it for other ulterior motives, which could be detrimental. It is just like going to see a doctor, your doctor or a physician, and you have discussed, say, your frailty with your doctor. Your doctor putting details out there in the public domain, which in medical practice vitiates what we call doctor-patient confidentiality. And just like you having a bank account, okay, and then your bank putting out details, that is your account number, your name, your balance in your account, and other confidential documents you entrusted with the bank. And so these are the things we're raising. And again, we also said that the Electoral Commission did not place any control. And so if I go on that platform today, what I'm going to see is I'm going to see details of I'm going to see my name, my ID number, my age, and other. Sorry. What we are saying is that control measure, so that if I go, I can only check my name, and then leave that platform. Not me having the access to check my name, my details, to do that, because even with the ID number, itself, someone could be quick to trace where you live, the region, your polling station, could even be traced down to where you live. And so to dump such too much information out there without any control at all, for us is most unfortunate.
Now, Ayuram, according to your press release, you addressed the EC as incompetent. Don't you think you are being harsh on the Electoral Commission?
Okay, so I have heard. I didn't get your question.
I mean, according to your press release, you addressed the Electoral Commission as incompetent. Don't you think you're being harsh?
No, but you see, if you invest too much in an organization, okay, you have invested too much resources, so much resources in an organization, and that organization has been, if you like, handed over our data, our personal data, okay, and that organization is acting in breach of our privacy. And if you read the Data Protection Act, if you read that you gather the data, the subject of the data you are gathering, subject of that data, we should not breach our privacy. So when you do this, you throw everything out there in the public domain. How else do you want to be? We want to elections. We do not. We are seeing too much place of incompetence for the electoral commission.
Okay.
And this is not something that will better work for us during, before, and then even after the election, because anybody who has access to that information can use it for something which is mental.
So what is the way forward now?
Yeah, so we called on the Data Protection Commission, called the Electoral Commission to order. And I have heard that the Google Drive in question has been pulled down.
Okay.
Yes, that is a good step. That is a very good. I can say that it has already been caused. Okay, the damage has already been caused. It's a good call, but the damage has already been caused.
Okay. Sure. Thank you very much for your time, Aram. So that was Aram Noglo, Deputy Director of Research of Strandneck Africa. So let's move straight to other stories where the National Democratic Party has refuted claims of its flag bearer, I beg your pardon, Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings, withdrawing from the upcoming presidential election. This was after reports emerged on social media that the wife of the late former president had notified the Electoral Commission, EC, of her intention to pull out of the presidential race. At a press conference, Secretary General of the party, Alhaji Mohammed Frimpong, disclosed that the news circulating online regarding their flag bearer withdrawal had no iota of truth.
There have been some wild, very unprofessional piece of fake news, in circulation. We understand. We know that was the game of our detractors to seek to scatter this very conference. But thanks to God, you are all here. We read as follows. Ladies and gentlemen, there was an announcement today on Kasapa FM, including Star FM, owned by Dr. Kwabena Dufour, a leading member of the National Democratic Congress, that, and I quote, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Party, NDP, Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings, has pulled out of the 2020 presidential elections. That's KasapaFMOnline.com has gathered. The story continued. It's believed that the last minute consideration is linked to the demise of Akufo-Addo's husband, ex-President Jerry John Rawlings, who passed away 2 weeks ago. Reports say the NDP leader has informed the EC of her decision. Meanwhile, the party is scheduled to address a press conference later today. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is fake news in capital letters and should be treated as such.
Now let's do some health stories where research has linked sitting for a long period of time with a number of health concerns. No matter how much you exercise, sitting for excessively long can risk the factor of early death. Let's take a listen.
When you sit, you use less energy than you do when you stand or engage in any activity. Sitting for long periods of time is associated with obesity, and a cluster of conditions increases blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess food fat around the waist, and abnormal cholesterol levels that makes up metabolic syndrome. Too much sitting overall and prolonged periods of sitting also seem to increase the risk of death from cardiovascular disease and cancer. Any extended sitting, such as at a desk, behind a wheel, or in front of a screen, can be harmful. An analysis of 13 studies of sitting time and activity levels found that those who sat for more than 8 hours a day with no physical activity had a risk of dying similar to the risk of dying posed by obesity and smoking. However, unlike some other studies, these analysis of data from more than 1 million people found that 60 to 75 minutes of moderately intense physical activity a day counted to the effect of too much sitting. Another study found that sitting time contributed little to mortality for people who were most active. More studies needed on the effect of sitting and physical activity on health. However, it seems clear that less sitting and more moving overall contribute to better health. You might start by simply standing rather than sitting when you have a chance, or finding ways to work while you work. For example, take a break from sitting every 30 minutes. Stand while talking on phone or watching television. If you work at a desk, try a standing desk or improvise with a high table or counter. Work with your colleagues for meetings rather than sitting in a conference room. Yoga also eases waist pain or rigidity. Position your work surface above a treadmill with a computer screen and keyboard on a stand or a specialized treadmill-ready vertical desk so that you can be in motion throughout the day. The impact of movement, even leisurely movement, can be profound. For starters, you'll burn more calories. These might lead to weight loss and increased energy. Also, physical activity helps maintain muscle tone, your ability to move, and your mental well-being, especially as you age.
Up next is the business news. Stay tuned. Now, Ghana's soya market has received a boost from the signing of partnership agreement between the Ghana Commodity Exchange and RDF Ghana, a development finance institution. Under the partnership, RDF is providing a 1 million dedicated credit line to selected brokers to settle farmers who need immediate cash for commodities. They deposit into GCX designated warehouse.
The partnership aims to provide a ready market for smallholder farmers while improving their incomes and standards of living. It includes an option to scale up to cover other agricultural commodities. A recent study by the Soybean Innovation Lab found out that soybean prices in Ghana compare quite favorably to international prices and are consistent with supply and demand factors in the country. However, the researchers noted that there is sufficient seasonality in production due to insufficient storage, poor road infrastructure, and challenging logistics during the harvest period. As of 2017, the country had about 20% self-sufficiency in soya production. Earlier this year, Ghana Stock Exchange partnered ARB Apex Bank, which provides services to rural and community banks to advance short-term loans to farmers through warehouse receipts. This meant that smallholder farmers could use their commodities in storage as collateral to obtain short-term loans from partner banks. So far, under the warehouse receipt financing model, Ghana Stock Exchange has engaged about 15 rural and community banks across the country, a step further into developing agricultural farmers. According to the exchange, smallholder farmers can also benefit from its other value addition services such as moisture testing, cleaning, drying, grading, rebagging and storage, all aimed at improving the marketing qualities of their harvest so they can attract premium prices.
Now, some former staff of the defunct Gold Coast Trust Fund Management have decried their inability to access their Provident Fund from Pen Trust Limited. This, they said, has rendered them financially unstable to the extent that they cannot cater for the needs of their families.
According to the former staff, the situation has aggravated as their marriages are collapsing because they are financially handicapped. In a press statement, the ex-Gold Coast Fund Management staff noted that inability to pay rent, feed families, and most importantly, cater for wives and children, which has led to the dissolution of marriages and loss of respect in their homes. They, therefore, called on the National Pension Regulatory Authority to look into the matter for them to receive their due.
Up next is the international news from our international partners, People's Dispatch.
Na jauti kai mu da do presi wa se wanti mensi
mate insist me sire why na me yikwa na treche wo e gari malaria din ya chinsa
eja kan akoma 2 years so onum dan proke heba mister osisi mbadi u say from oyire nso doctor ka chene say o malaria mo ani bi oni pedue mu a so onum dank antima x yare malaria ebe kokora obi wo honum a ne yem ye ne yanso a so onum dank gastro care heba mister oho beton dank phyto care heba mister koko ebe ye hu adwuma ma wapon waposo ohu tutu dank extra care heba mister obenya hoden ne watimi anante mekafo dank no nyina e de amamo
na ebenya dodwe nya bi we
pharmacy shop ana heba shop also pe dank nura ye be ma obi
pacho mo number ye sen
0266593330
enroi oba pemfo oba o ma akora nufo ani akora woni mfie du mienu ntime no FDA ahwehwe sa edwadie nkrato mu agya to se eye.
Pop star and Ugandan presidential candidate Bobi Wine released on bail on Friday, November 20th, 2 days after his arrest. The arrest of Wine on Wednesday had led to a massive protest, during which repression by state forces led to the death of at least 37 people.
Pop star and Ugandan presidential candidate Bobi Wine was released on bail on Friday, November 20, 2 days after his arrest. The arrest of Wine on Wednesday had led to massive protests, during which repression by state forces led to the death of at least 37 people. As on Friday, the third day of protests, scores of others were injured and at least 600 people were arrested by the security forces on charges ranging from rioting to arson. On Wednesday and Thursday, soldiers moving in armored vehicles across the capital city, Kampala, and other cities used tear gas, water cannons and live bullets against protesters. Some social media posts showed police firing indiscriminately on people standing in their balconies overlooking the protest. Bobi Wine was arrested when he was campaigning in the eastern part of the country. He was arrested for allegedly violating coronavirus guidelines against holding mass rallies. However, several rights groups allege that the coronavirus restrictions are being used as a tool to repress the opposition in Uganda. For many hours, Wine's whereabouts were not disclosed by the Ugandan police. Later, his spokesperson disclosed to the public that Wine was kept in a high high-security police facility in the eastern city of Jinja. Immediately after his arrest, the National Unity Platform, Bobby Wine's party, alleged that he has been denied access to lawyers. Appearing in the court, Wine blamed the incumbent government for the killing of people.
Now, Israel carried out a strike inside Syria on November 18th and again on November 21st. At least 3 Syrian soldiers and close to 50 military men were killed in the airstrikes.
Iran warned Israel against the latest repeated violations of Syrian sovereignty and vowed to give a crushing response to anyone who tries to harm Iran's presence in Syria. The warning was issued by spokesperson of the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Saeed Khatibzadeh, in a press conference he addressed on Sunday, November 22, after Israeli airstrikes inside Syria on Saturday. Israel carried out airstrikes inside Syria on Wednesday, November 18, and again on Saturday, November 21. On Wednesday, the Israeli airstrikes near Damascus killed at least 3 Syrian soldiers and injured 1, according to Syrian Arab News Agency. Syrian Arab News Agency also reported that Syrian air defense intercepted some of the Israeli missiles. Reports say that Saturday's airstrike in Deir ez-Zor province near the Iraqi border resulted in the death of 14 militiamen. Saeed Khatibzadeh, however, did not confirm any deaths on Saturday's strike. Israeli Defense Forces, however, acknowledged the attack on areas near Damascus on Wednesday, claiming that Syrian forces attempted to place improvised explosive devices in Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. Israel also accused Iranian Quds forces for being involved in the attempt. Iran has denied the allegations and maintained that its involvement in Syria is only advisory. Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes in Syria since the beginning of the war in 2011, though it rarely owns up to them. Whenever Israel acknowledges an attack, it calls them attacks on Iranian installment or attacks against Iranian-backed militias, meaning the Hezbollah. Iranian and Russian forces have been deployed in the country with the consent of Bashar al-Assad's government to help it in the fight against externally supported militias and terrorist groups such as Islamic State or ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the ongoing war in the country. Khatibzadeh also condemned the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's visit to an illegal Israeli settlement inside the occupied Golan Heights, calling it a violation of Syrian sovereignty and a provocation prior to the end of Trump administration's term. Israel occupied Syrian Golan Heights in the 1967 war and illegally annexed it in 1981. U.S. President Donald Trump last year unilaterally recognized Israeli sovereignty over the territory, going against long-held U.S. policy and against the established international law.
A very big thank you to People's Dispatch for the international news. Michael Boasiako is next with the sports news.
Hello, good afternoon. Let's do some sports on the midday news. My name is Michael Boasiako, and let's begin with some football news. And the Ghana Football Association has now agreed to allow Premier League clubs record their matches. The decision was reached during a meeting between the GFA and the chief executive officers of the clubs. There is more to this in the following report.
The meeting was triggered by a threat from Kotoko to pull out of the StarTimes deal if they are not allowed to record their games for education and coaching purposes. Reports indicate that the clubs have agreed to allow their matches to be recorded and kicked against a directive by the GFA which prevents them from doing so. Also during the meeting, the clubs appealed to the GFA to make available the contract they signed with StarTimes, with the FA willing to make available the documents and the clubs set to send an official petition for the documents.
Let's do some African football related story. And the Confederation of African Football CAF has announced that the Confederation's first vice president, Congolese Constant Omari Selemani, as the interim president of the Confederation until March 2021. The statement comes a day after FIFA slapped the 5-year ban on the association's president, Ahmad.
Omari's inauguration comes after the Ethics Committee of the International Federation of Football Association issued its decision to suspend Ahmad, the CAF president, for a period of 5 years after breaching the FIFA Code of Conduct. In an official statement on Monday, FIFA affirmed that its Ethics Committee issued its decision after proving financial irregularities against the CAF president, banning him from practicing any sporting activities with a fine of 200,000 Swiss francs. On 19 July 2019, Omari was nominated to be the first vice president of Confederation of African Football, taking over the portfolio from Amaju Pinnick. 62-year-old Omari also serves as a member of the FIFA Executive Council. FIFA appointed Omari in September 2015 to chair its task force against racism and discrimination.
Let's finish off with some UEFA Champions League news. And match day 4 of the UEFA Champions League group stage kicks off today with some of Europe's elite sides hoping to add to their points in order to better their chances of advancing to the knockout stage of the competition. Here are the features to expect.
With early kickoffs in Group E, Sevilla will travel to the Stadion FK Krasnodar with the sole aim of clinching all 3 points. A victory for the Spanish side against the Russians will guarantee themselves a spot in the elimination round. Elsewhere in the group, informed Chelsea, who is on a 9-game winning streak in all competitions, will aim to extend that run to 10 when they travel to Ligue 1 side Rennes. Meanwhile, the French outfit that had quite a season last year have seen their fortunes dwindle in the Ligue 1 standings. Their trade in the UEFA Champions League is even worse as they lie bottom of Group E. In Group F, Borussia Dortmund will play host to Club Brugge at the Signal Iduna Park. Free-scoring golden boy Erling Braut Haaland, who netted a quartet of goals over the weekend, will seek to continue his meteoric rise in the UEFA Champions League when he faces the Belgian side. In the other Group F game, Lazio invites Zenit St. Petersburg to the Stadio Olimpico, with English referee Michael Oliver leading the refereeing department in that clash. The Bianco Celesti are second in the group, and a win will take them to 8 points. In Group G, 5-time winners Barcelona will be without their talisman Lionel Messi when they travel to Ukraine to take on Dynamo Kiev. With just a point out of 3 games, qualification to the next round of the competition seems an impossibility for Messi Lucescu and his charges, but Barca already have a foot in the next round with 9 points out of a possible 9. In the other game, 5-time Ballon d'Or winner Cristiano Ronaldo will lead the line for Juventus in a bid to add to his incredible UEFA Champions League goals haul when Hungarian boys Ferencváros are in town. The Italian giant will attempt to place a stranglehold on the second qualification position in that fixture. 20-time Premier League winners Manchester United will be hoping to bounce back to winning ways in the Champions League when they face Istanbul Başakşehir. The Red Devils fell to a 2-1 shock defeat in the reverse fixture with goals from former Chelsea striker Demba Ba and Eden Visca. A defeat again today for the English side will complicate matters for them. In the second Group H fixture, the UEFA Champions League Group of Death, as commonly referred to this season, will see French Ligue 1 Syria winners Paris Saint-Germain take on fast-rising German boys Leipzig in a crunch clash. This match could decide the fate of Thomas Tuchel, and his side could be forced into the Europa League if they drop points against Leipzig and United.
Bring an end to sports. My name is Michael and Boasiako. Last we have entertainment news.
Oh, it's incredible! Bang on target!
Now, moving on to the world of entertainment, we're taking a look at colors of Ghanaian funeral attire. In this age of modernity and technology, does it really matter the color one wore to say goodbye to the death? On weekends, particularly Saturday, most streets in Ghana become awash with mourners, clad in red, black, and sometimes white.
The Ghanaian is very superstitious and has a strong belief in ghosts and ancestors. It is believed the dead cannot rest in peace until a befitting funeral and burial ceremony are held for them. Accordingly, such courtesies to the dead requires special funeral cloths, which traditionally come in red, black, brown, and white colors. People sometimes have to pay a high price for these clothes, but the reality is one cannot afford to attend a funeral in just any attire without attracting criticism. Actually, the black and red attire for funeral ceremonies in Ghana signifies a grieving period. Traditionally, red is associated with danger and black with grief. Hence, the use of these colors to communicate the passing of a loved one. However, when a person grows to a ripe old age of 70 years and above, the belief is that the person has lived long and has been blessed. So, why not rejoice instead of grieve? Traditionally, white signifies victory or joy. So, on such an occasion as the final funeral rite for someone over the age of 70, the white cloth is used to celebrate the life of that person. In most cultures in Ghana too, the white cloth are worn on Sunday, the final day of the funeral rite, to show relief in the assurance that the deceased has made a successful transition into the spirit world.
Thank you for your time. This is how we part ways this afternoon on Pan-African News. A recap of the headline. Abelemkpe Presbyterian Church holds Peace Walk ahead of 2020 polls. Is sub-sensitized journalists on security ahead of 2020 polls. Now, Democratic People's Party lends support to the NDC. On our business front, Ghana soya market gets boost with 1 million Ghana cedis injection. Thank you for your time once again. My name is Anane. Nartey. Do want to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram at Pan-African Television. Do have a wonderful day.